Hey everyone, welcome back to the workshop. Artisan Pirate here, and in today's fun scroll saw project video, we're going to be doing our final scroll saw project video for 2025. I hope in some way, shape, or form, from January all the way until now in December, that I have taught you something about scroll saw woodworking over here on the platform, and I have inspired, educated, elevated, and motivated you to maybe try scroll saw woodworking out in your garage or workshop. And we are right here at Christmas's door, my friends. And one thing that I always want to see during the Christmas season, but as of right now, at the time of this video's recording, I have never had what is called a white Christmas, you know, a nice snowy Christmas. So I thought this design that I have picked out of this magazine would really encapsulate that wishful thinking to have a snowy morning on Christmas Day. The design I've selected is from an older issue of Scroll Saw Woodworking and Crafts magazine by Fox Chapel Publishing. It is Holiday 2010, issue 41 to be precise, with a nice little retro wooden toy robot there on the cover. I know a lot of people like the old space age projects and collecting them, but the design we are going to be doing begins on page 48, and you can see here it says, "Scrolling an intricate winter plaque. Snowflakes and stars come together for a Christmas celebration," by Miss Sue May, and the one pictured here was cut by Mr. Rolfe. So thank you for the beautiful and intricate design. Really cool with all of the snowflakes, again representing the white Christmas effect and everything. But the full-size pattern is on the following page, on page 49, and there you see it, and you can see that the base of the tree is not connected to the tree itself. So it does have a nice little stylized finishing for it, the way you finish it up. It's not attached. You attach them separately on the backer board. So really neat and unique. The main bulk of the scroll saw work is going to be cut from 1/4 inch material. And since I really like the design, and since it's so intricate and going to be very delicate, I want to stack cut 2 at one time to offer some support to some of those fragile and delicate areas there. But you can see there, it's not a very large pattern, about the size of a basic sheet of computer paper, just like in the magazine here. And the backer board, if you guys remember when we went up to the hardwood store of North Carolina, I picked up some walnut in a bundle, and I have edge joined 2 pieces of those cut to size, and I've got them glued up with Gorilla wood glue. They have been in the clamps for several days now, but I did want to show it to you guys like this, all clamped up. I will, of course, remove all the clamps in the video, and we'll give it a nice sanding to get everything nice and smooth, and that will be our backer board. But a really cool and beautiful project to finish off the year over here on the platform. Please keep in mind that even though this is the final scroll saw project Monday video for the year, there will be a final year in review video posted this coming Friday. So I hope you all continue to stay tuned for it. And since everything is pretty much prepped and prepared, let's move the camera over to the workbench so we can drill all of the pilot holes required with the Seiko Scrollers drill, so we can move over to the Rikon scroll saw and start making some more Christmas sawdust. And over here on the workbench, we are taking the Seiko Scrollers drill and a small drill bit to drill out all of the pilot holes for internal cutting. And there is a plethora of internal cuts on this project. And you'll note that I have a backer board behind the scroll work to prevent blowout of the pilot holes on the reverse side. And please do not be put off by all of the detail on a project like this, because once you get done with all of them over at the scroll saw, it'll make a very beautiful and delicate Christmas piece. But once all of the pilot holes are drilled, we'll head over to the Rikon scroll saw and begin scrolling. For all of the scrolling on this project, I'll be using a number 5 Ultra reverse tooth blade, and it will cut through both layers of 1/4 inch material here exceptionally well with minimal chip out. Beginning here with some of the smaller internal cuts. That is always the general rule of thumb with scroll saw projects. Do all of the smaller cuts before proceeding to the larger interior cuts. And as I said, we are stack cutting 2 here out of 1/4 inch material, and I didn't need 2 pieces here, but the second layer offers support to some of those fragile and delicate areas, and I'll also get an extra copy of the project once it's done to finish in a different way or to pass on to a fellow woodworker for them to finish. Here at the close-up view, you can see how I cut out the stars in a series of V cuts to make the stars crisp and legible. And now I'm just going through the internal cuts here. I've got on some good music and I'm just lost in my world of sawdust. But cutting out this project brought back all of those memories of snow days, being in school, getting to stay home and watch TV, and also bundle up and go out and build a snowman if it was enough snow accumulated outside, and there was always the ever popular snowball fight. But a project like this really brought back all of those great memories that I look back on fondly. I always love seeing the snow fall, but I'm always, as I get older, also thankful to see the snow melt and go away. But here we are doing the final internal cut, I believe, and then it will be one very long outside perimeter cut to release the pieces. I'll begin with the trapezoid shape of the tree base, and then I'll pick an area to start, and we'll begin that long outside perimeter cut line. Of course, taking my time and letting the blade do the work. If you guys would like to try this pattern, it's available in an older issue of Scroll Saw Woodworking and Crafts magazine by Fox Chapel Publishing. I'll show that magazine once again as we get ready to close the video. And if you guys like what you're seeing, I would highly encourage you to subscribe to my channel and also follow me across all my social media feeds under the Artisan Pirate name. I'd really appreciate the support. And some of the snowflakes here are very delicate, and I'm just being as loyal as I can be to the cut line. But again, taking my time and letting the blade do the work. Once all of the cutting is done, I was very happy with how nice and crisp everything came out, and I can credit that to the number 5 Ultra reverse tooth blades that I use at the scroll saw. I used one scroll saw blade for all of the scrolling here, and it took well over an hour to scroll everything out due to all of the detail. But we are almost done, coming back around to where we began, and then all the scroll saw work on this project will be complete. And when we are done, we'll head over to the workbench and very carefully remove the piece from the waste wood. And as I said, due to stack cutting, we have two beautiful, delicate snowflake themed Christmas trees here. But I will select one of them and the base, and we'll head over to sanding with 180 grit Klingspor Woodworking Shop sandpaper in the vibrating palm sander. And I hope it goes without saying that this piece is very fragile and very delicate. I'm just using small circular motions to sand everything here very carefully on the front and back side. The sandpaper does a great job of getting rid of all those fuzzies that accumulate during scrolling. And now over here at the Rikon table saw, I'm removing all the clamps from the walnut panel we glued up. Again, I picked up this walnut at the hardwood store of North Carolina when we done a tour up there. And this piece had been in the clamps for several days, but I did want to show it in the clamps on camera. But now it'll be time for sanding, and you'll see here that I'm using my Craftsman orbital sander, and it's totally cool to sand with an orbital sander here because there's no delicate pieces that could potentially catch in the orbital motion, and break or chip away. But I'll sand everything nice and smooth here and get the piece ready to cut to its final dimensions over at the table saw. And I didn't take any proper measurements here, I just kind of eyeballed everything, just how it would look pleasing to the eye. And we'll rip it now to its final dimensions. and I'll do a final sanding to the panel off camera. But then it'll be time to glue the scroll work to the backer board, and I'll be using medium grade CA glue and activator for that, using a generous amount here. And I'll use spring clamps and strips of wood here. The strips of wood will help add pressure to those center details to help them grab the backer board. And I'll spray it with the activator, and I'll let it sit for around 5 minutes to completely dry and cure before coming back and removing the clamps. And then all that was left to do was apply a finish, and for a finish we used a few coats of Rust-Oleum clear gloss. And I really love how it made the grain textures of the walnut backer board pop, and it really complemented the lighter color of the 1/4 inch material of the scroll saw work. When this dried, the project was complete. And here we have the completed, beautiful, and very intricate snowflake and star themed Christmas tree, cut out completely from start to finish over on the Rikon scroll saw, and it finished up beautifully with some immaculate and delicate details in it. I want to once again thank Miss Sue May for the beautiful and intricate design featured in an older issue of Scroll Saw Woodworking and Crafts magazine by Fox Chapel Publishing. As always, I'll hold that magazine up again as we get ready to close this video and wrap up. But a really cool, beautiful look at it. You can see all of the intricate details we cut out over at the scroll saw. And as I always say, with a little bit of time, practice, patience, and effort, you can make some beautiful and intricate scroll saw art out in your garage or workshop. It took me around 1 hour and 30 minutes to scroll everything out completely from start to finish. As I said, there is a lot of intricate details in this, and we stack cut and cut out 2 of the main bulk of the scroll saw work to offer some support, since it was cut out of thin 1/4 inch material, to some of those delicate areas, because sometimes the scroll saw blade, when you're making a corner, can catch and it will want to maybe jump or teeter a little bit, and that could rip away some of that delicate scroll saw work. So that is why I like to add multiple layers. Right here on the table saw, I've got another one. This is that second layer we cut out to finish in my leisure time, or to pass along to someone else to finish however they see fit. But I finished it how it was represented in the magazine. Again, I'll show that to you momentarily, and I think it came out great. There was a lot of fragile cuts in this, as I said, and with some of these smaller interior cuts, like up here with the top snowflake that represents the star on the Christmas tree, sometimes it felt like it took longer to rethread the blade and tension it through the pilot hole than it did to do the actual cut work. But with the Rikon scroll saw, I can get in a good rhythm and just get lost, in the world of sawdust and making and creating beautiful designs. I think the natural tones and textures of the materials we used in today's video really complement each other and really give it a contrasting and beautiful effect. The backer board is 1/2 inch walnut we picked up at the hardwood store of North Carolina in Gibsonville, North Carolina. It was 2 pieces that I edge joined together to make the backer board, and then the natural 1/4 inch material, we left its natural shade. We didn't add any splash of color, paint, or stain or anything like that. And I think that lighter shade of the scroll saw work and the darker shade of the backer board really makes a project like this pop and stand out. And of course, the Rust-Oleum clear gloss we added for a finish really give everything a nice glossy appearance, as you can see it reflected here in the light of the workshop. So really cool. Really happy with how this came out. I will have to set it aside and let it dry completely and thoroughly overnight, because it is still a little bit tacky in places. Even though I have the wood stove going and the heaters going back here, it still takes longer and longer for projects to dry once they are clear coated during this time of year. So just be aware of that if you have a workshop that's not properly heated or insulated or things like that. But really happy to have this just in time for Christmas 2025. As I said at the beginning of the video, as of right now, at the time of this video's recording in early December, I have never had a white Christmas here where we live. So hopefully, one day that will happen. I'd love to wake up on Christmas morning and see the snow out there. It's still magical to see coming down. Even though I'm in my late 30s now, I still love seeing it, and it's so beautiful to get out and make memories carefully and take photographs and just preserve those memories for years to come. But this just represents that love of seeing the snow each and every winter season. It don't snow as much in my area as it does in other areas of North Carolina or in other areas of the big wide world we live in, but this still represents that childhood wonder of a snowy day. I always anticipated having a snow day when I was in school, but really, really cool. Finishing options for a design like this, I always encourage people to think outside of the box when they approach a design like this. If you have access to a laser engraver, you could of course scan that design in and make this as a laser cut pattern. You could shrink it down and make it into ornaments, because the laser does a really good job of getting into some of those delicate areas. You could of course do that over on the scroll saw. You could enlarge the design if you wanted to hang it on a door, like the entryway, your front door, or your back door during the Christmas and holiday seasons. And I also feel like you could go above and beyond with adding splashes of color. I feel like this would look really cool with the darker backboard. Maybe spray painted a bright white, a glossy white color, or maybe even silver to represent the snow with the base painted in. Or you could go in and paint each individual star in Snowflake if you felt like you wanted to do that. But really happy with how this project came out. And again, due to stack cutting the actual 1/4 inch material over at the scroll saw, we have another one of the designs cut out to finish off camera or to pass along to a fellow woodworker and maker to finish. But really, really cool. Again, I want to be careful with it when I set it down because it's still tacky. But once again, that beautiful and intricate Christmas design came from an older issue of Scroll Saw Woodworking and Crafts magazine by Fox Chapel Publishing way back Holiday Christmas 2010, issue 41. So the magazine is roughly 15 years old for those curious, with the nice little retro toy robot on the cover. And as I said earlier, the designs and patterns are on page 48 and 49, the article and the pattern. And there you see the visual representation of what they made. And then I'll try to carefully pick this one up. Here you see the one that we made in today's video. And they finished this one here in 2 different styles. So I like that they show 2 different variations. One with the scroll saw work being light and one with it dark, and then the backer boards flip-flopped from light to dark. And I want to once again thank Miss Sue May for the beautiful and intricate design featured here. And I want to thank Mr. Rolfe for cutting out the 2 visuals here for us to get some ideas when we are going through the magazine. So really, really cool. This magazine is packed with so many intricate patterns for the Christmas and holiday season, and I love having a backlog of the older issues to go through to find these older designs like this and bring them to life over here on the platform for you guys to hopefully view and enjoy. And speaking of you guys out there, thank you all throughout the year for continuing to like, share, follow, and subscribe to all the social media platforms. It means the world to me. Again, this is the final Scroll Saw project video of 2025, but all of my social medias are still going to remain active. If you guys want to reach out to me, strike up a conversation, or ask for a tip, trick, or tidbit when it comes to scroll saw woodworking, I'm always happy to help people. As I always say, inspire, educate, elevate, and motivate one another out there in the big wide world we live in. And there will be another Wednesday video this coming Wednesday, and then there will be a final upload to this platform on Friday, which will be a year in review video. So I hope you all stay tuned for it, but I hope you like watching me make this project and bring it to life from start to finish. And I hope wherever you are out there in the big wide world we live in, that you all have a happy and safe Christmas 2025 and a happy new year that'll be right after Christmas. Thank you all for following along, and God bless you all. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart, from my family to yours. That's going to be about all for this one. If you're new to the channel, hopefully you'll click that subscribe button and also follow me across all my social media feeds under the Artisan Pirate name. As always, links to contact me as well as all my social media feeds will always be linked down in the description box below these videos. That's about all for this one. And remember guys, if I can make it or do it, so can you guys. I'm the Artisan Pirate. Take care. Merry Christmas, and I'll see you guys real soon.